is the story of a trophy for the world, a journey, a dream.
Right, so for Morocco, after a fantastic run at Qatar 2022, the dream has finally come to an end. But congratulations to Morocco, no doubt about that. I mean, they've done what no African country has been able to do, reaching the semi-finals of the World Cup. And who knows, they might just end up with the third place in Qatar 2022. That's why I welcome you to today's episode of Sports Orbit. My name is Afa Acho. Salifu Usman is right here with me. Salifu, welcome to Sports Orbit. And of course, also joining us all the way from the UK is Wale Ayeni. Wale, welcome to the program.
With me. Thank you, Alpha, for having me. Good afternoon to you and to Salifu. It was just so disappointing that Morocco didn't actually make it to the final. But regardless, they have actually done themselves and Africa indeed proud at the ongoing World Cup, Alpha.
All right, so I mean, Salifu, like we were here to preview that match yesterday, and just like it was against Croatia, I mean, we were some of the maybe let me say few people, even though while watching that game yesterday, some of my friends actually accused me of being anti-African and all of that. I said, no, it's not a matter of being anti-African, but I just felt that France had what it takes to emerge winners in that one. But I mean, just like I expected, Morocco having put up a good fight, were not able, were simply not good enough to get it over the line, and it was France, 2-0. Probably leading up to this encounter, recall that Morocco had just considered one goal, which was even an own goal. But yesterday on that night, they considered two, just like happened for Croatia, considering just one goal. But when it mattered most, felt like a pack of cards, and it was a 3-0 defeat against Croatia and for Morocco also.
Yeah, just like you say in your intro, I also want to join you to say congratulations to the Moroccans. Obviously, they have tried. Everybody around the world, they really give them a thumbs up for what they have been able to achieve. They have achieved a feat that no African nation has ever achieved, and history will only have a place for them in the when it comes to the round that they in Africa. For that achievement yesterday, congratulations to the Moroccan. But football is all about tactic and it's all
Yeah.
about experience.
Mm.
Experience always counts when it comes to the game
Very
of
well.
football. For Morocco, that is their first time of playing at that stage. But
Exactly.
for France, it's a normal routine
Yeah.
business. So,
Mm.
and when you are there often, so you know what it takes to navigate through the road. So, and just like what the France showed the difference yesterday. If not, if you're looking at the match yesterday, for the first time, Morocco have a better possession in the
Possession, yeah.
game.
Yeah.
If you have watched the Moroccan
Mm.
team, all that they always have the less possession. But yesterday, for the first time in this tournament, they have a better possession. But because France are always a France are always defending champions. They are
Yeah.
champions and champions, and the experience matters a lot. So they were able to hold on, and then when it matters, they get the good they
Yeah.
want, and then goes to the final.
Yeah, I mean, Wale, like Salifu rightly said, experience always matters in these kind of competitions. It's Wale with us. Okay, so I mean, Salifu, like you rightly said, experience matters for the Moroccans. First time to even get the stage. Like, I mean, like they rightly said, a lot of fans after that match said, look, coming to this competition, they didn't even set any target for themselves of how say, okay, let's go to the World Cup and get to second final. It was just let's just go to the World Cup, let's just participate. But
Make the number.
exactly make the number. They didn't even set any target, but they eventually got to this position. And when you go into competitions like this, even though you don't set a target, by the time you get to this position, expectations start rising. That's why, you know, a lot of Africans, Arabs are beginning to feel that okay, since Morocco can get here, maybe they can take it a step further and win it.
Yeah, just as we normally say in the local policy, if opportunity comes just by once,
Yeah.
and Morocco never expect that they come this far. But But as far as they get into competition and God open way for them and they begin to get in and get in. So definitely when you begin to get in as a woman, you always want to achieve more. That's why nobody will always feel satisfied that I'm done with what I've achieved. No matter little you have achieved, you don't expect to get it, but when you get it, you then begin to continue to go further. And that's exactly what has happened. Morocco never expect even just like you say, even the entire squad of the team, the entire everybody, put their fans and everything, all of them are surprised to see where they see themselves. And when you begin to move forward and you achieve, there's always human factor that you want to get to go further, and that's what they attempt to go further. But unfortunately, God has a better way for them. God has a better plan. That no, you have reached your limit. You have tried. Just stop here. You can go back and plan. The next time when you come back, then you can move forward. You can take it a bit further. And for France are always champion. And competition to the first. Now they have a final. Messi, Argentina.
Yeah, Wale, like something rightly said earlier, experience when you get to the latter stages of this competition, the business end of it, experience always counts, and we saw that clearly yesterday. As much as at point the Moroccans, were ahead in possession, but I think France had already done the damage. With that early goal, the damage they knew the damage had was done, so they just allowed them enjoy some possession. While we'll continue to hit you, and of course, we also had that second goal came in. Why sometimes individual brilliance matters because in that kind of tight angle, nobody expected Kylian Mbappe to do what he did. To take that ball in between defenders and lay a simple pass, almost simple like Messi did, and it was the second goal.
Of course, at this stage of the World Cup, you just have to be clinical at goal. We saw how, the Moroccans were not actually clinical at goal when they actually faced defense and also Igloris. We saw them, missing a whole lot of chances. They didn't actually convert their chance. But at this stage of the competition, every chance matter, every conversion actually no matter. If you don't get to convert chances, there's no how you're going to score and there's no how you're going to, progress to the next stage. I feel the experience of the French team has actually helped the team to actually qualify to the final. Looking at the coach itself, he has actually won the World Cup both as a player and as a coach, and also going to the finals, going into his second final back to back. It just show you that the world experience is there more under the French team than at the Moroccan side. But Morocco, for me, they have actually learned from their defeat to France. I know that will actually aid them when they get to play in the third place match against Croatia. No doubt about it. They has been fantastic right from the start of the tournament. I know for them conceding that goal were just so sad in the first half, but you could see it was just a slip from that defender that actually make them to concede that first goal. So at this stage of of this competition, you have to be very, very mentally alert. You have to be physically alert. If you don't get, to follow every ball try to reclaim every loose ball, you might just get to pay for it. And that was what happened, to Morocco against France yesterday. France were actually fantastic. Mbappe also was solid. Oliver Giroud getting to win all the arena ball for France. I think that actually, boosted their chances yesterday. And also talking about one man yesterday for me was totally, outstanding. Talking about Antonio Griezmann, he was, going to back to go and defend for France. He was actually winning some balls, making some vital tackles, for France in the middle of the park. And actually, he did very, very impressive work. And also, trust Neymar, he was actually getting to run down, the Moroccans from the flank, which he did successfully at some point in that particular game. But let's just see how it goes up for them. It's lessons learned by Morocco. They will go back and strategize against Croatia. I'm just hoping that they can able to win that top place match against Croatia. Going forward, Alpha.
Yeah. So looking at Morocco's run, and some few persons feel that before Africa might have this kind of opportunity again, it might take a while. So looking at Morocco's performance, what next for Africa? Do you think is an African team will soon win the World Cup, or maybe next World Cup we might go back to default settings where you have five African teams and none of them make it to the second round. Don't forget that next time around, Africa has nine slots. in the 48 team competition. So a lot of expectation. People will be hoping that if we are going to have 9 teams in the next World Cup, at least one of them or two of them should be able to get to the quarterfinal.
Yeah, for when people say well that Morocco take everybody by storm, that surprisingly getting to the same final, and the question is whether it will take another a long time for another Africa or another Africa will win the next World Cup or we will have another African in the semi-final in the US, Canada, Mexico 2026. But if you look at it, in 1990, when Cameroon was the first African country to go to the quarterfinal, it took Africa another 12 years.
Another team
for another 12 years. After 1999, it takes 12 years before Senegal gets to the quarterfinal in 2002. And after 2002, it takes Africa for another 8 years. Another second edition of the World Cup for another African to get to the quarterfinal. I think for them, it was first 10 years, no, 12 years. They reduced it to 12 to 8 years. Now that's the interval of after Morocco, then the next third edition will have another Africa in the quarterfinal. And then after the other Africa, the next edition will have another Africa in the quarterfinal. So if by that reducing the figure by 4 years, so definitely in the next World Cup, which is another 4 years, we will have another, we likely have another.
But the last time it was Ghana who did it in 2010.
In 2010.
And that's how many years? Because 2 editions after 2010,
that's 12
we had
years,
Brazil,
another 12 years.
we had Russia.
Yes, absolutely correct. I'm wrong calculation. That's 12, another 12 years again. But yes, but what is that this Moroccan performance has opened up door, has also opened many African teams' eyes that yes, if Morocco can go this far. And then see, we shouldn't judge that what Morocco has achieved is not judged by a whisker or judged by a dream.
They have invested heavily.
It's a steady plan.
Exactly.
It's a consistent plan. It's a development plan. So no African team to just think that, oh no, Morocco just unexpectedly just find themselves at the top. So if you go into the history of the Moroccan football, they have a 10-year development plan. And that 10-year development, they are in the 8 years of it, which they are working on it consistently and then get it to where they are today. So if you look at it, within Africa, except I may not know much about North Africa, but within the West Africa, within the West Africa is executing such a plan. Another plan you may think or maybe South Africa, but within our own West African country here, Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, and the nearby, who is having that development plan, following up a development plan. Nigeria should have been a good example of a country that supposed most of these things were achieving or seeing other African teams. Suppose Nigeria supposed to have been the one to have achieved this feat far long time ago. Reason being that Nigeria has produced as one under 17 World Africa Youth Championship 5 times. So a nation that has produced that have won Africa Youth Championship 5 times.
At least I've gotten to the at least semi-final twice.
At least we're to the semi-final of the World Cup because this set of the players that we are producing that have won those World Cup over the years supposed to translate, progress to the next level, and be the future. That is what I see. For instance, Manchester United goalkeeper. The game was at the 2007 Korea Japan. Where are the Nigerian players that played in the Korea Japan? The like of the Cristato, even the Ajiboye that was in the goalkeeper. Where are them today?
None of them are anywhere.
So so you begin to see even the Neymar you are seeing. Neymar was part of the team that came to Nigeria 2009. So the Nigeria 2009 squad, where are they? In our present squad. These are some of the things we have. These are great challenge. We don't follow up and we don't build on the plan.
We'll continue on this on this trail of thought. Is quite important. While you just hold on there, we'll go on a break, and when we come back, Sport Orbit continues.
This is the story of a trophy for the world. A journey. A dream.
Welcome back from that break. It's still Sports Orbit. Yeah, before we went on that break, we were talking generally about Morocco's, defeat to France, but having achieved what they've achieved, getting to the semi-final, and generally about what next for African football, and if Wale is with us. I mean, like Shalifu rightly said, what Morocco achieved is not what. Yeah, it's something to inspire other African countries, but this is something that wasn't done by wishful thinking. If you look back, Morocco has had plenty of investment in football, not just even the male teams, both male and female teams, and they're beginning to reap these things. But when you come, especially on this side of Africa, especially West Africa, the story is different. Do you think this feat going forward can be replicated by other African countries?
Of course, this is an eye opener to the rest of the African, countries for them to actually, buckle up, and also for them to actually get to have a sport development program. Looking at the Moroccans, they had a 10 years, football development program, and right now they are in their 8 years. And they have been able, to get to the semi-finals of the World Cup. Their women's team also have been very, very impressive. They defeated, our old Super Falcons right there in the Nations Cup, semi-final. So it shows that they have, they have this, football system working for them. I feel we should actually get to do that also, so that we can have like a smooth transition, of our football development at this point in time. Also to serve as an eye opener to the rest of the African countries, for them to make sure that they get to select the right players, going into international tournament. They should not just rely on, playing politics when it comes to, player selection, at international tournament. I feel the likes of, Nigeria should actually go, look at the book map and what the Moroccan FA are currently doing. I know that we have our own football development plan. I wish to see that going into the system. No, it should not just get to be like a black and white, just a document that will be dumped somewhere and will not be used. I want to see that particular document being used for the development of football at the grassroots, and also that will actually transit to the national team. But most importantly, getting the right player selection, building up a team before international tournaments will actually make Africa to be successful in the 2026 World Cup that will be hosting, and that will be hosted in USA and Canada. I feel that the African continent can actually produce semi-finalists in that particular event if we start the preparation and now Alpha.
Yeah, Wale mentioned, 10-year football development plan. If we recall, I think something like that was unveiled in Nigeria sometime earlier this year with so much fanfare, even taking it to the president and all of that. Yeah, for some of us, we haven't had time to really scrutinize that plan to actually see what it contains. I don't know if maybe some of you have seen it to even see if the plan, because having a plan is one thing and being able to implement the plan is another thing. And the content of those plans are even very, very important. So, but for our own 10-year development plan, I won't have time to scrutinize it, like I said. So, I don't even really know if it's something that, if properly implemented, will even take our football moving forward.
Thank you. We're talking about Morocco 10-year plan. Nigeria have a 10-year development football plan.
Yeah.
But the 10-year development football plan released by the Minister of Youth and Sport, as advised by the Ibrahim Galadima committee, which has been approved by the President Muhammad Buhari. If you look at that 10-year development plan, absolutely, if you are talking of football development, football development is all about the principal actors. What is in terms of physical presence? What are you putting in place to open space for all inclusive participation? All inclusive participation in this case, that to open space for more people who may not have the opportunity to play. But in our own football, from what I have read, I've not read it all, but from what the literary meaning of the speech of that I've go through. So that development plan, first and foremost, the first step of it has been defeated. First, sometimes we do something based on a certain target, we want to achieve a certain target.
Yeah.
Because an NFF election was coming, and in all that, the election was coming, so they quickly put up that development plan so that all the to open inclusive, and the inclusive meeting to let's bring everybody into the board of NFF, not into the board of NFF. Because if you look at it is only 44 people that decide who is the president of Nigeria Football Federation. And what the development plan of that 10-year development is to open space, let more people not just four, not just 44, the 36 FH, 37 FHM as an other individual. No, that let everybody that at least open the Congress. It opened the Congress this case. We are talking about more administrators, more opportunity, more football player union, club union, electric union, and other institutions also and also to all participating to decide to select who become the president of the nation. Just like all Nigerians decide who is the president of Nigeria. Okay. But is that what we really want to achieve? But what is, in that time, I have not said when he actually talk about open space that developing put facilities on ground in all the neighborhoods for youth and for children to participate. Presently, we are in a country where football is belong to the youth, but the youth are at the school level. But what is our school level of competition in this country? Absolutely no. That was in the past. There's no any school competition that bring all schools together, that brings children from the school together to come and play football. They want the Minister of Fitness and Sport and call it Principal Cup. Is that what we call Principal Cup? The Principal Cup where you selected schools and they come and participate and 2 days event, play for 2 matches and you call it Principal Cup. Principal Cup in the old days, not even in our old time when we were in school, in when the old days, in the past, in the 80s, in the 70s, it's all about starting from the world level, you get to the regional level, from the regional level to the local government, from the local to the state level. It play all across until the national final. It's all across the country. But in this one, they've done is they just select some school from some states, and you come and play this one. You are playing the Super Cup. We are just enjoying. Presently, you and I know that in all the schools in Nigeria today, there's nothing sport. There's no space for sport. Today we are having a residential house being converted to school. Is that how we are developing? We're going to develop. I had just like it's not about music speaking. It's about what plan and plan towards it. If you don't plan, you plan to fail. Okay, for instance, the Secretary of Nigeria Football Federation will say that. Let me just withdraw my statement. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that on. Say that Nigeria can perform better than what Morocco have achieved. What is your plan on ground? You fail to qualify for World Cup. Apart you fail to a serious nation by now to approve setting something in place for people to see that okay, we miss this World Cup, but in the next step, these are plan on how to achieve to go to the next World Cup. We miss the World Cup. Now, what is your plan? There's nothing on ground to show that you are working towards it. And when people was in Qatar to say this World Cup is supposed to be Nigeria World Cup. What kind of process is that? Is that how we are planning to achieve the next World Cup?
We move on from the other stories. Of course, Wale, for France, Benzema is likely to rejoin the squad ahead of the clash against Argentina. It's understood that Real Madrid have given him the permission. They had already told him initially that if France makes it to the World Cup, he will be permitted to join up with the squad. And recall that when he was even dropped from the squad, sidelined out of due to injury, somehow for some strange reason, the coach Didier Deschamps refused to call up anyone to replace him, and that's his space is still vacant. So he might likely rejoin the squad, and who knows, maybe he might get a few minutes in that final.
Of course, for me, I'll say it's a good news for Karim Benzema if he can actually make it to that particular squad because we just know that it's just one victory away from getting to lift the World Cup title, which is the dream of every player. We know that he was not in the squad for the last tournament right there in Russia where the team actually won that particular title. So for him getting to rejoin the team for the final against Argentina. For me, it would be a massive game for him. He wants to actually get to do all his best and win that particular match for him to be able to lift that title. So it's going to be him for me. It's going to be him, Mbappe, against the likes of Messi, who actually want to lift this World Cup title by all means. So I feel it's a very good development for the French team. It will actually add more attacking trait for the France side. We know that the likes of Olivier Giroud, has scored about 4 goals in the ongoing campaign. Mbappe has scored 5, so they're all struggling, to get the Golden, Boot award. But the inclusion of Karim Benzema, who we all know that he's like the best striker in the world at this point in time, for me, is a welcome development, a great addition to the French team, and also a great level of development for Karim Benzema as well.
Right to one more story before we leave. That's talking about the Portuguese FA, where they are actually trying to make contact with compatriot Jose Mourinho on the prospect of him taking over the national team job. Well, the agreement they're trying to have in place is he could be in that role and still continue as his job as Roma coach, because the FA feels there's a new generation of Portuguese players who very talented across board. And if you look at that squad, for me, Portugal had easily one of the best squad in the World Cup. But I think the FA are beginning to think that this current coach is simply not the man to put them leading forward. And they need someone who is more tactically sound, someone who, with this array of superstars in the Portuguese team, can be able to control all these big egos and bring out about a new tactical approach.
Yeah, I think the old man Jose has done
I mean, six years in charge.
Has done his best,
Yeah.
and he has tried winning the
Won the Euro, won the inaugural UEFA Nations League.
Nations
Yeah.
League. So to me, it's not a failure. It's not a failure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, achieve a lot, but I think sometimes when you are on a job, there's always a tendency of diminishing
Yeah,
returns.
exactly. Yeah.
So and even the age is no longer on his side.
Very
It's
well.
good, and yes. The Portuguese job has been there for more for Mourinho. Everybody, some of us feel that Mourinho should have long before now have taken over the Portuguese job. But Mourinho is somebody who doesn't believe in idle job, because he see the national team job as one of the idle jobs, because you don't have a job. It is only when a match is coming, just come after 4 days and the player
That's why
disappear.
they want to allow him to continue
Player
his.
disappear. So he prefer a job that he can keep him busy every day, and then so he player. But label him, you know that one day he has to pay his respect and pay his due to the Portuguese. He's one of the best coaches that has come out from Portugal, and he needs to contribute to the national team. I think it is a good decision if he eventually take that job. But that job has been long waiting for him.
Because a certain Gus Hiddink did this kind of arrangement back then as coach of Russia.
Yes,
he was coach and also coach of Chelsea at the same time. So it's not strange.
It's not still, but sometimes it can the interest can always come to us, and when you have a club job and you have a coach, nothing always come. It sometimes comes from cause little distractions here and there. But Mourinho, be who he is, I think what the national team wanted to do with him, they had an agreement passed through. They will allow him to see his contract through, and that contract, then he now fully come and do as a full-time coach with the Portuguese league. Just like I said, the old man has tried his best and he has done it. I think let another person move on from where he stopped.
All right, with that, we'll call it a day on today's episode of the program. Wale, thank you for joining us on today's episode of the show. All right, I think also, Salifu, thank you for coming on the program once again today.
Thank you so much, a pleasure.
So, of course, tomorrow is Friday, and tomorrow we'll give you a preview of the final match, which comes up on Sunday, and of course, third place match comes up on Saturday. So, until then, do stay safe out there. My name is Apa Acho, and it's bye for now.
This is the story of a trophy for the world. A journey. A dream.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.